Today was an interesting one. I got in a couple of things I wanted to try. It was very much a day of play in many ways, and re-practicing, reconnecting, however you want to coin it, with things that I've neglected, exercises that I've neglected, and one in particular that has been over, I believe it's about 110 days now, 112 days since I last hip thrusted. And I'm really not proud of that, because I respect the hip thrust greatly. I respect it enormously, actually. And I admire anybody who can hip thrust extremely well and very heavy, because I feel like it's a compound lift that is easily neglected and easily overlooked. So it was nice to get back in and play with them. I realized very quickly that my form was off. The skill wasn't there. Thankfully, on the last set, I felt connected to the movement, and like I had relit the flame, which was nice. So I look forward to playing with that more on this free time. So it's in this free time, so to speak, in this period where this, in many ways, without realizing it, has become my goal, and that is to see what movements it really is that I want to improve on right now, and what movements I feel weak in and feel will complement my 3 main compound lifts. Because the reality is, for this year, the goals are still the same. Plain and simple, the goals are still the same. I want 3, 4, 5. I want 3 plates on the bench. I want 4 plates on the squat, and I want 5 plates on the dead. The deadlift and the bench being the 2 more easily achievable goals based on where I'm currently at. And the squat being the big one. The squat being the, how would I put it, the biggest challenge that I'm looking forward to, and I believe I can do it. I genuinely believe I can do it. I believe I have a lot of untapped potential in the squat, simply because of the fact that I've never trained hard and smart, really and truly, specifically for these lifts. So it won't be easy, but I have confidence. And in recent time, I've had a close friend of mine at the gym blow his squats out of the water and just improve week in, week out. And one of the things that he did really well, and that was in his program and was a priority in many ways in his program, was hip thrusts. And he has a beautiful and really strong hip thrust. If I'm not mistaken, he's taken like 250, 260 for like 5-6 reps. Don't quote me on that, but it's something along those lines. Anyway, so I've got in my logbook now a lot more data to play with, or I will have a lot more data to play with come the end of the week. The areas or the lifts in which I think I'm weak, or have demonstrated a weakness, a lack of skill, that I believe could translate well to, first and foremost, my squat. The squat is a priority until the goal gets achieved. Second priority is the bench, and then third priority is the deadlift. As this may be naive, but because of the relatively small disparity between where I'm currently at for a 1 rep max and where I want to be, and due to the nature of the lift, due to the weight not being loaded onto you, you find that the deadlift is slightly easier to climb the ladder of weight versus the other 2. An example of that would be, you watch powerlifting meets. It's very common for the jumps to be much bigger on the deadlift than they are on squats and bench. So that's the least priority. Anyway, And I spent today, interestingly, thinking a lot about, partly inspired by a comment on yesterday's video, thinking a lot about training every day, because you're going to hear this a lot on this channel because of the nature of the channel. And one of the most common things I get is, I want to say, like, recommendations to, I don't want to say train less, but like, just as an example, yesterday, one dude commented about how he thinks it would be important to like schedule in lower intensity days, which I completely agree with. And if you've been watching me for a little while, you'll know that they happen regularly, kind of by default. When I'm programming, they are scheduled. Sorry, I've lost my train of thought there. Yeah, he was talking about how he had a lot of success going from 5 days to 3 days, and essentially not directly, but essentially suggested that I give it some thought. And this is one topic that I'm actually not really hesitant to speak upon on a regular basis. I'm going to keep it short today because I've already spoken for long enough. But I'm not really hesitant to kind of preach it day in, day out, because I genuinely believe from the bottom of my heart that we as human beings are capable of far more than we could even ever comprehend. And that is, in many ways, the foundational thought for me having the desire to train every day. That is what drives me every day, to kind of prove that, like, whatever you think you can do, whatever you believe you can do, I promise you can do 100 times more. Like, that's a guarantee. I believe anyway, we live in a mental universe. The physical world is nothing but a byproduct of what we create in our minds, both collectively and individually. And with that, I believe that the only way you achieve quote unquote great feats of mankind, whether it be a demonstration of strength, speed, endurance, David Goggins being my favorite example from an endurance perspective, whatever it is you wish to accomplish, whatever great feat it is you wish to accomplish, you must first believe you can. And after that, you'll be surprised as to how far you can push your body just by simply using your mind. Our bodies are capable of far more than we can even comprehend, like in this given moment. If you know the name David Goggins, you've probably heard the story that's in his book Can't Hurt Me, where he did an ultra marathon with no training and completed it. Was he beat up, battered and bruised after it physically? Of course he was. But what got him through that wasn't his body, wasn't his physical self, it was his mind. He used his mind to push his body past limits that his physical practice would have placed on him, meaning the fact that he hadn't trained in the physical realm would have placed limits on his body to state that you cannot achieve this. However, he, using his mind, decided, no, if I think it, I can do it. It's that simple. So, simply put, I believe that training every day isn't actually that difficult. I flat out don't really believe in burnout. There is people that have trained far harder than me, far longer than me, every single day, some of them still do it. So why should I believe in burnout? Why should I believe that if I don't pace myself or if I don't have a rest day, then I'm going to burn out? On top of that, taking into consideration that there's a lot of studies that show that more often than not, people who experience quote unquote burnout are actually burnt out mentally and not burnt out physically. I personally don't need to hear any more than that. I personally don't need to know any more than that. All that tells me is that if I choose to, I can be disciplined and overcome any physical ailment, any physical stressor in order to train every day for 10,000 days, 20,000 days for the rest of my fucking life. There's no reason why you can't. There's no reason why we can't. And why not? What else is there to do but use our body as a vehicle to exercise our mind and soul? It's better than sitting on the couch, having a beer, maybe a little smoke, playing some games. I mean, you can do that. You'll feel better about it if you did a little bit of work first. Anyway, I'll see you tomorrow.